team that's on the rise. He's a good, not great player.
The good thing for him is he'll teach those young guys how to become pros.
Right.
You're seeing De'Aaron Fox flourish into what I said all along in that draft was he's the best point guard in that draft over Lonzo Ball.
Still beat him in the tournament, though.
I'm not wrong. Wasn't wrong about that. Still not wrong about that. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of thought in the back of my head, do Golden State try to maybe reach out to him as they are moving on from the KD era? As far as we know, that was never even brought up.
That price tag, I feel like, was probably
too high, but
for Golden State.
A very good pro that's going to show some other guys how to become pros. I mean, this guy still can walk out and give you 18 and 6 every night. So, I mean, that's not bad. Ed Davis, a guy who just floats around year after year.
Doesn't make a lot of headlines, but does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it seems like everywhere he goes, he's like on a playoff team, whether it was Toronto or it was Portland for a little bit. Last year it was Brooklyn. Lands in Utah, 2-year, $10 million deal. If any of y'all are NBA fans, Utah is probably the team being talked up the most out west since free agency's kind of settled. And we know everybody is, as this might be the team that can maybe break through that conference.
So you're telling me he's going back to the playoffs?
Yeah, pretty much.
Ed Davis back in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. That's all he's going to do. Shocker.
Two-time NBA champion Danny Green lands with the Lakers. Decided not to return to Toronto once Kawhi Leonard decided to go to the Clippers.
3-time NBA champion?
2-time.
No. I'm saying like 3-time NBA champion? Now?
I mean, no. They're not winning a championship.
It could be close. It's pretty cool to see him. He just continues to land on teams that are really, really good. He's valued. I mean, this is a guy that I remember.
He's a top 5 two-way player in the NBA.
Whoa, that's bold. I don't know, because I'm not going to say that because I'm just not quite as in tune with that. He's up there, though. I mean, he's a guy that, look, he caught a lot of slack at times during the series for Toronto because
he wasn't great shooting the ball, right. But he defends.
He does everything that you need to do to win games. Yeah. I mean, he was constantly all over Klay Thompson. And he was even tasked at times with being on Steph Curry, and he's a guy that, look, he is not the greatest athlete ever. This is not a guy that just flies around the floor everywhere. Not on the level that Steph does. That's what I'm saying. And he handled his own. I thought he did a great job handling that Warriors team that we've talked about, just us whenever we talk about the NBA. They move better than any team in the league. And he did a fantastic job, I thought. So, yeah, I mean, to see him land on the Lakers, pretty cool. I mean, it's great to see that he's being valued because this is a guy that literally pretty much has never been a starter. He started on the championship team in 2009 simply because Marcus Ginnier got injured in the preseason, or else he would not have started. He would have been a bench guy.
I've made this comment. It's been discussed on many different venues. If you would have told me in June of 2009 that when Carolina had 4 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks, and Danny Green got picked in the second round, that Danny Green would have the best NBA career out of all of them.
Can you tell me who Danny Green was selected by?
He was drafted by Cleveland.
Drafted by Cleveland. Okay,
and
nice.
And that's all. It's all he's done is he's had the best NBA career of that quartet that made the NBA. And no one saw that coming. But just a testament to a guy that worked his tail off.
Right.
Took
it's
advantage.
Frankly not even close,
yeah.
Too, if you want to look at it.
The second best guy is probably Ty Lawson in his early days in Denver when he was a top 7 or 8 point guard in the league at the time. Wayne Ellington's like you said, a solid career as a 3-point shooter.
I would probably put Ellington ahead of Lawson just because it's not because Lawson isn't the better player. Ellington's still in the league, and Lawson isn't playing simply because of his own doing. I mean, it's on him. And then if you would have told me that Hansborough would be the worst, I would have laughed at you.
It just
his game just never translated.
The Hansborough entered the league too late. The league was already starting to slowly change to what it's become now, and he just got stuck.
I would have liked to see what he would have been able to do if he had played earlier in his career. Remember, he was kind of pushed behind in Indiana, and he had to sit behind who was the forward they had?
I think that team
not Hibbert.
They had Hibbert, Ian Mahaney. I mean, they were loaded.
There were a few of them that I thought, looking at the roster every preseason, okay, he's going to get ahead of this guy. He's going to be on the floor. And it just never happened. I wonder if he had landed in a different destination that needed a big more. Could he have made bigger impact? It's weird, but, yeah. But, yeah, no. I mean, Danny Green's career, phenomenal.
Our last segment of today's podcast, still NBA related, but it's with Summer League.
Yeah, baby.
Summer League started earlier this week. Or actually, no, it was actually last week, rather. And a lot of Tar Heels in action. I'm going to read you the teams that we got Tar Heels on, and Anthony's going to give you some numbers from some of the guys are doing. Isaiah Hicks and Kennedy Meeks are both with our local Charlotte Hornets.
I'm mad at the Knicks for not bringing back Isaiah Hicks. I thought Isaiah did enough to stay on that roster, to be honest.
Kobe White, of course, in Chicago. Cam Johnson on Phoenix, but he's not playing. No reason why. He's just not on their Summer League roster. He's not hurt.
Are any of their rookies playing?
I don't know. I just know he's not playing.
They're a weird team.
Nazir Little with Portland. Kenny Williams in San Antonio. And then Tony Bradley's with Utah. And we were talking before we came on. Tony Bradley has had some monster moments in Summer League. I was watching some highlights of him today. He's developed a three-point shot, which I would have never guessed when he was at Carolina because his jumper wasn't even fluid then. But this is a guy that, like, the first Summer League game he played, they hit like 16 and 15, really taking advantage of the opportunity. This is probably his final chance to make his name in Utah, or he's probably got to go somewhere else.
I hate that he's on that Utah roster because we just talked about how they loaded up in free agency. So is there a spot for him on that roster is the question, especially inside. But he's doing everything you need to do. I mean, in the Vegas Summer League, just played 2 games, averaging 18 points per game, shooting 54%, and he's got 10.5 rebounds. In the Salt Lake Summer League, yes, they split these up for some stupid reason. The Orlando League now no longer exists. Now they're doing them all out west. I don't know. It's a disaster. But he played in 2 games. He averaged 20 points per game and 15.5 rebounds. So I don't know what happened between last Summer League and this Summer League. Apparently, a year in the G League really helped our man, Tony Bradley. This guy, I mean, we talked about it so much after he made his decision. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to us.
What's happened is he's grown into his body.
Right.
So
now he's developing.
He's adjusted to the NBA level of play. And you're seeing a guy, I mean, I told you before we came on here, he never goes pro that he'd be a senior this year.
Right. Maybe doesn't make it to his senior year. Maybe he plays. I mean, but here's the thing. Could you imagine if he had been on this past year's team? We talked about on this podcast.
You know, he would, if he'd have been on last year's team, or let's say he stays for 4 years, specifically looking ahead to this year because last year's over and done with, Carolina would probably be a lot to make the Final Four. Preseason wise.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
he would probably be in the Player of the Year
because that was a guy.
Gonna be honest,
as a freshman that we just looked, and it was only he gave us. I think it was like maybe 7 points, like 4 rebounds a game, but was behind Kennedy Meeks, Bryce, not Bryce Johnson, but
Isaiah Hicks,
and those guys. And we just thought, good Lord, like
this is a Roy Williams big.
Once this guy gets to man the post, he's going to kill it. And left for the NBA, I'm not going to judge a kid for going to make $1 million to play a game.
I mean, it wasn't the worst decision ever.
It wasn't the best. It didn't make a lot of sense.
He got drafted in the first round, though, so you can understand why he went, because they told him you're going to be a first-round lock.
But, just absolutely killing it in Summer League. Kobe White's had some good moments.
19 points per game, shooting 40%, which is pretty good from a guard, and also averaging 3.7 assists, which is not great, but is decent.
And more importantly, took a kid's ankles the other day.
Oof. That was rough. He hit back-to-back threes the other night just in stride. I mean, just
I saw a motion where he got a rebound defensively, and did what we grew accustomed to him doing at Carolina, was just took the ball, ran, and just did his little jab step, and popped in a three, and it was just like.
By the way, is this a good time to mention the phenomenal dribble sequence against Duke? Because I know that has to come up at some point.
I mean, it's still probably his best individual moment as a human being.
Is that better than the ankle breaker in the Summer League?
Yes, it was still better. He wove through 3 Duke defenders. Like, let's be honest. That's basketball horny at its highest level. But the ankle breaker did a really good job too. Nazir Little's had some moments with Portland. He put a guy on a poster last night.
He did it twice this week. He had two dunks off rebounds. Remember when people said that they didn't think that he had he would have the motor to play at the NBA level? That's out the window.
He's going to be a guy though. And look, Summer League is not. If anyone is making opinions off Summer League basketball, That's
the only reason I'm saying pump the brakes on Tony Bradley.
It's organized, but you're playing against guys that are barely G-level players.
You're playing against guys that are literally the same as you. They are there to make an impression, to make a roster.
And
that's the reason that they're there.
But I feel like he's going to develop so much more during the season. Mm-hmm. And been meaning to tell you guys, we are going to add. We're talking about a new segment earlier with the Roy Should've. When the NBA season kicks off, we're going to have a segment dedicated where we're following these guys in the pros.
So a Vince Carter segment.
And
that's Vince Carter, Danny Green segment with a little bit of updates on a few other guys. Now we'll have Kobe and all that.
And just keeping you all updated on their progress throughout the year.
Can I read Nazir's stats real quick? 4.3 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, shooting 33%. So...
Like I said, he's had moments. But
right. He's averaging 22 minutes a game too. It's a little strange.
Kenny Williams, who's with San Antonio, he's had some decent moments there. He's a guy that, that's where Danny Green made a name for himself, was with that organization, starting at the G League level, learning how to play both ends of the floor. Kenny Williams is willingly going to defend. He took a charge the other night, which, you don't see a lot of charges taken in the NBA, if we're being brutally honest. A lot of guys
in the Summer League, nonetheless.
Yeah, this guy's sacrificing his body in Summer League. He's not even getting paid to play in these games.
Right. He landed on the perfect team, did he not, though? Because if he's going to make a roster because he's a guy that can play solely defense, that is going to be the Spurs roster. San Antonio, Greg Popovich loves those type of players. You talked about he had a guy in Danny Green. He's had guys throughout his time there that many questioned, would they really be good guys, including Manu Ginobili. And he turned them into great players. So, yeah, I think it's a great fit for him, and he's doing something.
Yeah, and as far as for Hicks and for Meeks, chances of them making the roster aren't great.
They just got beat by China, so Charlotte's got some other things to worry about.
If we're being honest, they're on the roster because they played North Carolina, and Michael Jordan and Mitch Kupchak are just trying to take care of Carolina guys. Now,
I think Isaiah Hicks can make the roster. I really do.
I thought, like, had a chance to be a player for the Knicks moving forward. That, of course, wasn't in their plans with some of the moves they made in free agency.
Right.
But if anyone was to make the Hornets roster out of those two, it would be Hicks.
I'm going to be honest. Looking at his stats, I think he has a real good chance. He averages 22 minutes a game, 8 points per game. More importantly, he's shooting 69% from the field. Nice. He's 11 of 16. So I just wanted to read that because the volume of shots is not up there. But here's the thing that I like. 4.3 rebounds, and the best thing that I think helps him, 2.7 assists. He's a big man that can spread the ball. There's a chance he could make this roster. Yeah. I really think so.
So there's your look at Carolina in the NBA from a free agency standpoint, from a summer league standpoint. And I think that's going to do it for this edition of the podcast.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it. I don't really have any. Luke May has played a little bit, not really playing great.
Yeah, I forgot to type him up on the
Luke May, 14 minutes a game, 2.5 points per game. But this is the scary part. He has taken 11 shots. He's hit 2. He's shooting 18%. 4.5 rebounds. Not terrible.
That's going to be a kid that's going to get put in the G League, work his tail off, and that's how he's going to make a name for himself.
And then Kennedy. Now, Kennedy